People believe Suga was found crying and being super emotional, and it's gotten some people super emotional as well. Other people are talking about how KBS could potentially ban Suga as well as all of the other BTS members and that whole situation, as well as a company posting about one of our BTS boys. So Dumplings, it's Dave Desai. Let's get into it. People were really excited because J-Hope was recently found in a fashion show for LV. He was not someone who was in the fashion show, but he attended as a guest, and of course, for moments like this, there is a lot of press there. And they captured him alongside several other stars. Some of the other notable guests were Jackson Wang, as well as the rapper Future, and this definitely made the event a lot more high profile. Of course, J-Hope has been making music in the US for quite some time, but it was really exciting to see him meet more US celebrities and get involved in this type of world. Of course, I'm not talking about Jackson Wang, but I'm also talking about Future. Now, this is the world that he is definitely supposed to be in, and I'm very glad that J-Hope has arrived. And as you can see, there's a lot of press and coverage from him just being there. I have talked about this previously, how we're going to start to see the boys get more involved and be where the press is at, because J-Hope's solo promotion is over. He doesn't really have to keep working or keep making appearances, but he is still doing that because it promotes BTS as a group. And now people are wondering what else he has going on, and the next activity is likely going to be the reunion. And of course, in case you are wondering, guests that are invited to these big profile events like the LV fashion show and things like that are simply invited for their ability to generate press. So they show up and suddenly all of the news articles are coming out about them, and that ends up promoting the fashion show. Now people might look into what new looks the fashion show might have, or what new looks we might see J-Hope wear, and so the brand also gets coverage from that conversation. But while this is mainly to promote the brand, obviously we see J-Hope's name all over the headlines again, and so this is of course a really good thing. Now J-Hope is also really smart, and he likely took this opportunity to make sure that he was also networking and chatting with some other celebrities. This is a great opportunity for him to meet some of the other celebrities and guests for any potential collaboration in the future. Even if they can't collaborate together on a solo project, the BTS members can collaborate with Future or various other artists. And for the most part, these events, aside from coverage, the most important thing is networking. And not every person who goes to these events gets coverage, right? So really networking is the main important thing. Back when BTS first started to do more things here in the US, they did go to some events, but they weren't necessarily getting as much coverage as they are now. So those are all things that happen over time as their careers develop. Some people were really excited that LV posted this, and I'm definitely really excited to see more. I think we're going to start to get a flood of them coming out soon, whether it's BTS as a whole going to places or it's going to be the individual members really ramping up these high profile events to get more coverage. And of course, they're also all doing really amazing things, and that of course helps coverage and all that sort of stuff. Suga recently made a huge donation to a treatment center. This obviously was not done for the sole purpose of press, as this would be really expensive for just press. However, obviously I believe the timing was timed out really well. It being right after the military, and then it of course being right before the reunion. And this being done was obviously to maximize impact. I mean, they really didn't even let people know that the treatment center was even being built. So now coming out as a full thing to clearly maximize impact. Like, it obviously seems like there is some sort of team behind all this. Some of the photos had come out to what Suga had done, and this was really obviously likely before he enlisted, showing him talking to the kids that were there, playing with them and interacting with them, helping with the music. He had guitars, and maybe he was singing to one of them, things like that. And that got people really emotional watching this and seeing that he had done stuff like this, as well as people saying that it seemed as if he had gotten super emotional as well. People were referencing moments in which it was clear you can see him laughing and smiling and interacting with the kids, and maybe someone was standing there with the phone taking pictures, and it was clear that he really enjoyed doing this, and this was something that was a deep calling for him. Because even the richest person in the world would definitely ask you a lot of questions should you ask for millions of dollars. So even someone like Suga, he's not just going to give out millions of dollars unless he really feels strongly about it. And of course, I feel like that's a very obvious thing to say, but a lot of people don't realize that because they think that all rich people should just give up all their money, right? But likely most rich people aren't going to do that, and will only do it if it's something they really care about. And we do see Suga being really emotional, but he seemed to mostly be laughing and smiling rather than getting emotional like crying. I don't necessarily believe that even seeing the center fully built would be something that would get him super emotional, unless this is something that he's always wanted to do. But I would imagine if he saw the effect that this treatment center had on people and just overall what it is going to do for people, that might make him super emotional. So it really just takes one case that he might read about, or maybe even just one person at the treatment center that he might meet and interact with and completely just fall in love with. I love that, and I'm really excited to hear updates about this, whether the updates are what Suga has done to the center or for the center in the future, or just what he's done in general. And I hope it's all positive outcomes and nothing bad at all. So I don't want to hear that something bad happened to the treatment center or anything like that. Not that there would be anything bad Suga would have done for this, because obviously he cares about this a lot. Should we be shocked about this? No, not really, as we can only expect the BTS boys to do things like this. A little bit surprising, I think, so, because we don't expect most people to do things like this. This is why it's so tough for me to see the boys get such significant backlash, especially him, because recently with all the members coming out of the military, there's been a lot more backlash with the boys getting back into music and into the spotlight. There's always a lot of people who just don't want to see the boys at all and are trying to get the boys fully canceled and kicked off the air. Specifically, there was a petition that went viral urging KBS, the Korean broadcast station, to completely ban Suga from ever going on air. Keep this in mind that this is something that KBS has done before. They have fully banned former members who have engaged in drinking and being under the influence and other things as well, and this is something that they take very seriously. They mentioned taking this seriously because they want to make sure that little kids and people who are very much influenced easily will not look at what Suga has done and just take example from that and do all of that stuff themselves. And while this is something that I personally feel the global community is just getting upset about, and it's not actually that big of a deal, this is something that the Korean community in Korea has believed is a big deal. So this is why they ban specific artists after they do stuff like this. But they are hesitant to ban Suga because he is a part of a really big global K-pop group, with a lot of people specifically saying that BTS is 7, and if they ban one member, they would be losing all the other 6 members from ever going on air to their station, and that would be what most people would believe would be detrimental to the station, as of course the station is going to want those huge stars that bring in huge ratings. Now, do the BTS boys bring huge ratings for KBS? Absolutely, but they've existed prior to BTS existing and likely would exist when BTS chooses to retire or not be in the spotlight anymore, because a TV network will usually stay on for generations, while of course a boy band will just last for one generation. They might be remembered for many generations, but they will only be alive for a generation because people only live so long. So no, I don't think this particularly would protect Suga and would cause the network to not ban him. But do I personally believe that he should be banned? Absolutely not. There's a lot of people who have mentioned that this should be seen as admirable and beautiful, that he not only did something wrong and then took accountability for it, but really changed and did something amazing. And it should show people that they can mess up and do something bad and still rebuild. I mean, we should look at it as that. We should look at it as a lesson. And do I think that any of the members from former groups or celebrities should have been banned for something like this? No, I don't. I don't think anyone should really be stripped of an opportunity to have a second chance. I mean, if you murder someone or if you touch someone really badly or in a bad way, then you probably don't need a second chance. But for anyone else who's done something and didn't hurt anyone or anything like that, it should definitely not take this much out of their career. Let me know what you think. Make sure to check out Patreon for more videos. Link down below. Thank you to this lovely comment right here. Love you. Bye.